A lot to celebrate for GE this nice 2-0 win, and also happy birthday, Crystal. Now I'm gonna grab Autumn over here and talk about today's game. Thank you, Autumn, for joining me. Your spot is over here. 네, 오늘 2대0으로 승리를 거둔 글로벌 e스포츠의 어텀 선수 만나보도록 하겠습니다. 승리 축하드립니다. 가장 먼저 오늘 좀 경기에서 처음으로 브림스톤과 비토를 보여주게 됐습니다. 지휘에서 요루를 담당하다가 이제 조금 다른 요원들을 플레이하게 됐는데 이 부분에 대해서 어떻게 느끼고 있는지부터 여쭤보도록 할게요. Now, congratulations, Autumn, on this win. You were the designated Yoru player on your team, but now you're playing Brimstone, and now you're playing Vito, and you have a 100% win rate. On both of them because it was your first time playing them in an official. But how are you handling this major change?
I think it's okay because before when I played in VCT CN, I played more of a flex role there. So I'm quite accustomed to it already. So it's fine for me.
Do you like it?
Yeah, it's fun.
Yeah, it's fun?
It's more fun playing different agents.
Okay.
I think. Yeah.
Alright. 먼저 아무래도 그 중국 지역에서 CN 지역에서 경기를 할 때 플렉스로를 담당했다 보니까 워낙 다른 요원들을 다루는 거 크게 힘든 일은 아니었고 또 프림스톤 비토 재밌는 것 같다고 얘기를 하는데요. 그래도 이 요루 너프에 대해서 어떤 생각인지 여쭤보고 싶습니다. 아쉬울 것 같기도 하고 이제 요루 당분간은 못 본다고 생각을 해도 될까요? But seriously though, I really wanted to ask you about the Yoru nerf. Do you feel like the nerf kind of killed him, he's not going to make his way back, or do you feel like he is kind of viable on some maps?
Yeah. So I think the patch is kind of killed him. I think, but like the way people were playing him before, it kind of killed that playstyle. But I think on bind actually it's quite good. And yeah, like they played it on bind today. So yeah, I think on bind is good.
먼저 아무래도 이번 패치에서 너프를 좀 세게 맞았기 때문에 옛날처럼 요루를 활용하기에는 많이 힘든 것 같고 좀 많이는 못 볼 것 같지만 그래도 바인드 같은 맵에서는 아무래도 젠지가 보여줬다시피 요루가 아직까지는 쓸만한 것 같다고 얘기를 해줬습니다. 그리고 마지막으로 아무래도 플래툰 코치가 이번 킥오프 동안 좀 팀의 아이덴티티나 방향성을 많이 알 수 있었고 그 경험을 바탕으로 바인드 조합을 구성해서 오늘 보여줬다라고 얘기를 해줬는데요. 좀 어떤 방향성을 잡았는지 어떤 것들을 팀에 대해서 그리고 팀원들에 대해서 발견할 수 있었는지 물어보고 싶네요. So I'm gonna go back to what Coach Platoon said after map 1. He said you guys were able to discover your identity and kind of build off of that coming into stage 1 and thus on bind you're playing Gecko, Deadlock, and KO. So what were you guys able to discover about yourselves and how did that lead to playing this unique comp?
I think we kind of discovered how flexible all the players are in our team. Like Pat and Harvey play a lot of agents. Same with Sava actually, and also Yudo. Like all 5 of us can play a lot of different agents, and we just thought for the current meta that comp would work on that map. So yeah.
Alright, was it more about countering the double duelist or aggressive style, or it was more of, hey, let's see what we can do and this suits us the best?
I think it's both, but definitely against like teams that keep playing Waylay and Neon right now, it's so, I don't know, I hate it.
Okay. Well, you dealt with it, so that's good. 일단 킥오프를 하는 동안 좀 GE 선수들에 대해서 스스로 발견할 수 있었던 부분은 팀에 있는 5명의 선수 모두가 굉장히 플렉스로를 담당할 수 있고 다양한 요원들을 할 수 있는 요원 폭이 있었기 때문에 그 부분을 최대한 이용하는 게 중요하겠다라는 점을 배웠다고 얘기를 했고요. 그렇기 때문에 오늘 바인드에서 이렇게 좀 개코, KO 그리고 데드락 같은 조합을 보여줄 수 있었다고 얘기를 합니다. 그리고 굉장히 재밌는 시간을 보내고 있었고 이번 바인드 조합이 아무래도 이번 메타를 카운터 치는 것도 있고 아무래도 네온 레일레이가 너무 싫다 보니까 이런 조합을 더 열심히 하게 되는 것 같다고 얘기를 해줬습니다. 이렇게 해서 어텀 선수 만나봤습니다. Thank you very much, Autumn, and hope you guys celebrate Crystal's birthday together.
Yeah, we will. Thank you for having me.
Fantastic match by Global Esports to start off stage 1 of VCT Pacific. And yes, they are going to celebrate Crystal's birthday, but not so soon because we are going to interview him here at this desk very shortly. But some of the highlights from Split, they did end up keeping that veto, but veto was far from the only highlight that this team had.
I mean, this map wasn't even close.
Yeah.
There's no two ways around it. Absolute domination from Global Esports. Gen.G never finding a foot in the server, looking uncomfortable at every step and consistently outfragged.
Like any qualms you can have after the first map, you say, okay, well, it's fine, Gen.G, and they pick up 8 rounds on fine, but it's not their map pick. They should have much stronger, game plan coming into this sprint. Nope, not at all. Absolutely absent.
I mean, I'm surprised they picked this map. This is a map that Global Esports looked good on in kickoff, and then they bring out a Cypher. It just doesn't feel cohesive. I think alarm bells are ringing in the Gen.G camp right now. This game was really important for them if they want to make it out the group. They have big opponents waiting for them there, so I think this road gets quite difficult for the once storied Korean squad.
After seeing this, I don't think it gets any easier, legitimately. And some people be like, oh, 2 secrets of that. No, I do not think that this road gets any easier for Gen.G. If they're going to play like this, they will lose to everyone in Group Alpha. This was shocking, to say the least.
Yes, I think, shocking is really the only word. I don't think any of us expected this level of gameplay.
I can't throw a seize! Like everything is going wrong here!
Yeah, I mean, I think it just all feels very, very disjointed from Gen.G on this map. I mean, I think they can go back to the drawing board. They will have more chances, but like you say, it's a tough group. It's stacked opponents. We need to see step-ups in terms of macro and in terms of individual level, because Global just put them to shame today.
Oh, absolutely. And that's not to take away from Global Esports' amazing performance. They looked very good. In fact, in a past interview with Coach Solo here at our desk, he said, it's really important to have flex players who play like Forsaken. And he said it would be great to have 5 Forsakens. But at this rate, it looks like Global Esports is that team. They have a team full of super flex players, and they're all playing very well.
Yeah, I mean, you love to see it. They have so many options for the roles. Now, Autumn picking up that veto, Yuditan staying on that raise that we have seen from him before, but they have so many options to swap these back and forth. We've seen Double Initiator. We saw Crystal play Deadlock in Bind. It seems like their strat book is never ending when compared to Gen.G's. It's barely a pamphlet.
Yeah, just the clutch as well. I mean, you saw their 9 first kills for Gen.G. And this was something that we were seeing on Bind as well. A lot of those rounds that they were dropping, they're getting early advantages, but they're just unable to transition that into a win. How many times have we seen them get into a situation where they have a plan, it's, a 4v3, etc., or a 5v4, and then GE is able to just pick them apart one by one.
Oh, that's exactly what it looked like there. And you did mention the Cypher. Zinx didn't look comfortable on the Cypher. I have question marks why they even included Cypher in this comp in the first place. I think we have a lot of questions about Gen.G.
We really do. And while this was a very brutal loss, I wanted to take a look back at some of the things that did go well for Gen.G, because I think that is worth highlighting and reinforcing. So if we can roll the clip, I think that it's just one of those things that needs to be expounded upon. So, it was looking good from the outset for Gen.G. They had like a solid, cohesive walk onto the stage, and then it all fell apart.
Gen.G's best moments.
I don't want to do this. I don't want to come out here and be mean. I thought that this team was going to be looking so much better, was going to be making so many improvements, but there is still a munchkin-sized hole in this squad because they continue to flip things around, and we're not seeing them work out. Yeah.
It was a really good walkout, though.
It was a good walkout.
It was a fantastic.
Solid.
Now, I do want to talk about the match MVP again. Amazing performances across the board from Global Esports, but our pick is gonna be Crystal, and it is also his birthday today, and this is really great to see. I think we saw a lot of outstanding performances from a lot of the players from Global Esport over in kickoff. But Crystal, I think, I even heard from Frost at some point, especially after that first match, Crystal ended up having to buy everyone dinner because of his performance then. So to see this kind of improvement over here in stage 1, I think is a great start for the team and for Crystal, whom we do have here on the desk with us. You're looking fresh, Crystal. Happy birthday. Now, a while ago, your whole team said that they didn't have a lot of time to prep for kickoff. Right, your team members came in very late. It got put together at the nth hour. now that you've had a lot more time, what are some of the things you worked on during that Santiago break?
I mean, it was kind of, we work about our team chemistry, like our flexibility, how many comp we can play, how many agent everyone can play. So we working about this more than other things.
You worked on even more comps.
Yeah.
You already had a lot.
Yeah.
I mean, in our team, at least everyone can play at least like 2-3 different roles, so it's kind of help us.
Yeah.
So we have like good flexibility. So yeah.
But your performance looks even better today, starting at stage 1. Did you work on anything?
I mean, I work with my aim coach right now, so yeah, it kind of helped me a lot. I work about my movement, so yeah.
So to follow on for that about the roles, of course, today you were on Deadlock. This is a different look for you from what we saw in Kickoff. How do you find playing the Deadlock, especially in this meta, when Neon is so fast? And do you think Deadlock is a good answer to stop the pace that a lot of the teams have here?
Yeah, I mean, like in practice, we have a lot of team who play like VLA Neon, and Deadlock. It's kind of not perfect, but kind of good versus this. So yeah, it helped me a lot to stop it.
When you guys are making these changes, because again, you guys have a lot of comps. How much of it would you say is that you guys as the players going to Frost and the coaching staff and saying, hey, we think that this could be good, and how much is it Frost, coming to you guys and saying, I want you to try this out?
I mean, firstly, we want to try our comp, but if we play Scream and someone beat us hardly, and we're just thinking how we can beat this. So after this, we start thinking, okay, what can be better, what can be worse. So yeah.
Was the bind comp, you guys, or was that Frost? Today's bind comp.
I think probably it's like about Frost because he liked Deadlock so much. If like his previous team Talon play a lot with Deadlock, so yeah. I feel
That makes sense.
Yeah. Well, how are you feeling about stage 1? Are you feeling really confident?
I mean, yeah, I was excited to play, and we show good result today. I feel very confident after this win, so yeah.
Well, you're in Group Alpha, so you're still feeling good about it anyway.
Yeah, I feel like it's good for us, like, play versus this team in group stage, so we cannot see them in playoff like first round, so it's kind of good for us.
Yeah. Well, I mean, excellent first match of today, and birthday buff. Happy birthday, Crystal.
Thank
Happy
you.
birthday.
We're not going to sing the song, but we do want you to have a very happy birthday.
How are you going to celebrate tonight? What do you want your boys to do for your teammates?
I mean, we go just take dinner together and maybe do some stuff, I don't know.
They're not going to make you pay for dinner again, are they?
I mean, everything can happen.
I definitely don't think they should. Well,
In Korea, the oldest one usually pays, so have Frost do it.
Yeah, so
yeah, he's oldest by like 5 times, so he's got it covered. Well, happy birthday. I don't want to keep you here. I want you to go and celebrate
Go forth.
everything. So thank you so much, Crystal. And we'll see you around next week, real
Sure.
soon for next
Yeah.
week's match. All right.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah, he's
good.
going to leave the headset here. So I think, again, really promising to see this from Global Esports. We saw a great performance from them during kickoff, but I think this is just so much better now. This is so much more reassuring. This is not just Global Esports, with the right pieces. And I think it's going to be really interesting as we move through Group Alpha. But this is going to be, the end of match 1. We got another match. We got another Masters winning team, T1, playing today against Varel. So T1, okay, Santiago aside.
How do we put it aside, though?
Okay, we will touch on that. Let's talk about the good things. During kickoff, T1 ended it on a very strong note. Second place, but very, very promising.
Yeah, I mean, there's a reason so many people had T1 down to win Santiago after their kickoff performance. It felt like they started a little bit slow, then they heated up, went from strength to strength, ended up beating RRQ to qualify, and they looked amazing doing it. Everybody was high on this team. Super team on paper. They know how to win Masters, all this stuff. But then, Seth, I mean, you were there.
I was there.
You saw it live.
I was there. I was casting them. I predicted them to win the whole thing, and boy, was I wrong. This has been like 2 garbage back-to-back predictions from me regarding Korean teams. T1 into Gen.G winning today. I've not really been hitting in that regard, but this is still a team that I have a lot more faith in. There is still such a solid foundation, so while they did not do nearly as well as I thought that they were going to at Master Santiago, I think that there is still promise for them to develop and grow here in Stage 1.
Oh, definitely. Now, you did say for Gen.G there was a Munchkin-sized hole. This is where Munchkin is now. But really, the player I want to look at is Izu, because during Stage 1, kickoff especially, it was Izu who was really, frankly, carrying a lot of those wins.
I mean, even when you look at the stats from Santiago, you can see that in the wins, he looks good, and in the losses, he looks about the same. He's the only one actually finding some consistency on this T1 roster, and that's my problem, is you see these big ups from the players, they look like world beaters, then the next game they crumble into the shell of themselves, and they can't find consistent footing, they can't put good games back to back.
Yeah, well, I mean, when you go back, you look at that Liquid series again, Stack's the one who's stepping up, that round 2 ace to tie up 1-1, but the rest of the team was faltering and wasn't really showing up. Then suddenly you get into another really big game after EDG, everyone, you know, showing up respectively. And then Stacks kind of vanishes. And it's that consistency of that inconsistency, I should say, where they don't have every single player at least operating at like 80 to 90% of their usual selves that ends up costing them dearly.
Now, you did at least get to watch one other Korean team ascend through Masters. It was their Ascension team. But we have another one, and it's in the form of VALORANT. But VALORANT, I think, left a lot to be desired over in kickoff. And I think what we were most curious about is why they weren't playing like they were during Ascension. That really high energy, high spark team during Ascension was completely not there during kickoff.
Yeah, I mean, I felt like a father during kickoff. I wasn't angry, I was just disappointed with this VALORANT roster because I know how good they can be. I was there in Ascension. I watched them play live and I was blown away. I felt like these guys could be the next big deal. I thought they could come in and make a massive impact, but kickoff, they fell short, and that's a nice way to put it.
Yeah, I think near the end there, you could see that, you know, they started to make some improvements, but even then, it wasn't quite enough. And I think, you know, we did see that happen with, you know, with the other Ascension team, Dongshim, also eventually step it up even after. I hope they don't need to be relegated to get to that point, first of all. But you could see a huge difference here. Now, this is T1, which is one of the most decorated teams individually in the league versus VALORANT, who has a quarter amount of days played in officials.
Yeah, a lot of these players brand new pretty much. Like, they are just coming in. I mean, it's the first time obviously in Tier 1 for them after ascending, but this is one of those moments for VALORANT, who are going up against, you know, a T1. This is a rematch. They played against each other in the during the SVL, during the off-season. T1 was able to find their footing, kind of get a read, and pick them apart and got a 2-0 win. But this is one of those moments for VALORANT where they need to accept, like, yes, we are young players. Across the stage, they're you know, very decorated, but they kind of need to just forget about that. Forget about the accolades that the opponents have and just play your own game. Show us that confidence. Show us that fieriness that they had in their run to make it to this point.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. I feel like they have so much more left to give, but we need to see more individually out of these players.
Okay, so now we have 2 stats for 2 IGLs from VALORANT.
I forgot I pitched this.
And the 2 IGLs were MLP and Cinder. So guess which side is... I mean, the hint is probably in the agents.
Yeah, who's the one who's IGLing in this scenario? Is it the controller player with the lower ACS? Or is it the guy who's playing controller, Yoru, and Parber? It's LP. LP is the one he is calling from the front lines. And this is, you know, we talk about consistency for T1.
Yeah.
Cinder has kind of been the target for VALORANT during their shortcomings in kickoff of needing to find his own consistency. We saw him have a couple of games, a couple of maps where he was popping off, but he also had some stinkers.
Yeah, I mean, I think, you know, we talk a lot about the idea of the vibes guy, the emotional leader, and, you know, this VALORANT team will say Cinder is that for them.
Yeah.
He is that little bit older, he's that little bit more experienced, and he is that glue point. And while all that is very important, you can't forget about it, you have to, you know, there's a sort of, you have to be so tall to ride the ride that is Pacific. You have to be able to hang so much in the server, or you start to become a liability.
Well, you know what?
I wear lifts on the shoes and they're all like, it's good.
In the coaches' content that we saw we had Chobra and Judge Paperthin there, they did do a vote. How important is it to have a veteran on your team? And it was actually completely split 3-3 between the coaches there. And I can see why VALORANT did want a veteran on their team to kind of be that guiding light and all the grand things that Morgan was saying over there.
Yeah, I mean it makes sense. He just has to be able to step up on his own as well. You can't. I think you can have a veteran, you can have a glue guy, a vibes guy, but they can't only be that. Right?
Okay, but
You want a glue guy. And the current discourse. How about a duct tape guy? You want a duct tape guy?
Yeah, that's my bad. That's my bad.
now, interestingly, T1 put Stacks as their skirmish guy.
Yeah, that's what I noticed. He lost the skirmish. I don't know why
Unsurprisingly.
they would throw Stacks. I mean, look, Stacks can shoot. Like, I'm not trying to say that Stacks is a bad player or anything like that.
But
He
on that
showed it on
team-
Santiago, but yeah, when you've got Buzz, Meteor, etc., Izu on this roster,
It's a strange choice.
send one of them if you really want to win the veto. They don't, then they're going to be Team A, and so they got to pick Haven first, and now they're going to be forced to play Pearl.
I mean, honestly, I quite like this kind of map draft, and we might get to see Lotus if it goes to map 3. It's
That'd be
back
nice.
in the pool with those little tweaks and changes. So that's something I really want to see. T1 choosing that Haven. I mean, Munchkin has played this map probably longer than I've been alive, and he loves it so much. So no
so good at
surprises
it.
to see T1 go in there.
Yeah, in fact, when we were talking about Gen.G earlier and missing Munchkin, this is, I think, also the peak of the Gen.G Haven as well, was when Munchkin was still around.
I'm curious what they end up going for. It is what it is, the predictions. But I'm curious about the compositions because, I mean, Haven has kind of been this playground through Master Santiago, maybe a little bit as well before that, where the Phoenix was coming out.
Yeah.
And we've been seeing a ton of Phoenix over in EMEA.
Yeah.
So do both teams end up leaning in towards that is something that I wonder, or is it still going to be, Neon, Waylay even potentially on this map? Like, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I'm curious. I mean, I love Phoenix on this map. I always have. I feel like it simplifies your game plan so much. You just want to default for those orbs, really get that ult snowballing, and a lot of players find it quite easy to play. Phoenix, you just have to figure out those flashes, and it's quite simple. So in the brief time that they've had to adapt to this Yoru change, you can still run double duelist. You still have the same amount of flashes that you did. So I think this is a change we'll be seeing a lot of teams rely on in this transitional period.
Definitely. And T1, we have seen great moments from T1, whether they're winning Masters trophies over here in Pacific, even just earlier during kickoff. But this, we really want to see Varel step up. We want to see the Varel we saw from Ascension. We want to see them show that sparkle on stage that we saw there. And, they were talking a big game. So let's see if they're going to be bringing that game to the stage for day 1 of stage 1 of VCT Pacific.
VCT キックオフで VCT デビューだったんですけど、緊張もしたけど、やっぱそれ以上にもう観客に囲まれてやる毎試合っていうのが楽しくて、楽しいデビュー戦だったなと思います。
そうですね、自分たちの強みだったり、うまい部分を、出せてる試合もラウンドもあって、ただ、やっぱり出せてない時もあったので、その部分はすごい課題として残ってるかなと思います。
많은 분들이 이제 TFM이 이제 일본 대표다라고 생각은 하시는데 세계대회에서 좋은 성적 내는 팀이 일본 대표팀이라고 생각을 하고 있기 때문에 이번 마스터즈 런던을 가게 된다면 제타 3위 한번 뚫어보도록 하겠습니다.
前は TFM がチャレンジャーだったけど、今回は俺らがチャレンジャーとして挑みます。
志賀さん、こんにちは。いや今まで日本のバラのシーンめっちゃ頑張って盛り上げてくれたと思うけど、これからは俺らの番だから大丈夫だよ。
ありがとうございます。
頑張ってください。
옛날에 이제 DFM은 이제 1승이 간절한 팀이었는데 이번 스테이지 1에서는 우승이 간절한 팀, 트로피가 간절한 팀으로 좋은 결과 보여드리겠습니다.
ステージ1はキックオフでたくさん学んだ良かった部分であったり悪かった部分を生かしつつチームとして今たくさん準備をしていてとても今自信を持っています。特に DFM 戦は絶対勝ちたい試合なので、全てを出し切って全力で頑張ります。
What's up, guys? I'm back. Cruz from Full Sense. As a team, I think we agree that we are lacking leadership. So I think I just had to step back in and guide them until they're actually really ready.
처음 올라왔다 보니까 기대가 엄청 많았는데 무대가 너무 막 멋있고 이렇게 사람들도 너무 많이 오셔가지고 그거에 대한 저희가 살짝 부담감 때문에 조금 아쉬운 경기력을 좀 보여드렸던 것 같아서 좀 죄송스럽긴 합니다. 풀센스는 그냥 프리미 원맨 팀이었습니다. 프리미가 안 터지는 날에는 경기가 질 정도로 너무 프리미한테 의존도가 너무 높았던 것 같습니다.
I mean, at least we have Primi.
스테이지 1 준비하는 시간이 생각보다 널널했기 때문에 풀센스전에 저희의 색깔로 크루즈 형님을 밟아보겠습니다.
Coming back as a player, I'll definitely make the team stronger. I'll try to be as humble as I can to keep on improving the team and myself.
승리 하나를 따내고 차곡차곡 모아서 우승까지 한번 해보도록 하겠습니다.
조금 주춤했지만 그래도 이제 저희 색깔을 찾아서 2위를 할 수 있게 돼서 조금 만족스러웠던 경기였던 것 같아요.
I think after the T1 game, it's just like we all feel a bit angry because like that's not how we play, and we know we could have done way better.
자기들이 못하는 거 인정하고 있는 게 일단은 맞는 것 같고요. 그건 이제 모든 사람들 다 알기 때문에.
So in stage 1, we wash it away in our revenge match.
저희는 그런 거에 신경 쓰지 않고 저희 갈 길을 가기 때문에 네, 별로 신경 쓰이지 않습니다.
We will bring back the London trophy, and meanwhile, you guys need to try to get the Pacific trophy.
요즘에는 솔직하게 퍼시픽이 국제대회보다 더 높은 퀄리티를 보여준다고 생각을 해서 그걸 가지고 있는 거는 부럽긴 하네요. 비록 산티아고에서는 조금 부진한 모습을 보여드렸지만 그것 또한 저희의 과정이라고 생각을 하고 끝까지 저희 응원해 주시면 감사하겠습니다.
The finals will be hosted in Vietnam. This time around, I will try to lift the trophy with my teammate in Ho Chi Minh City.
Today's matchup. T1.
Welcome to stage 1 of VCT Pacific, and you heard it from Stax himself that Pacific is more competitive and exciting than International, so welcome to Pacific. Now T1 is one of the most experienced and decorated individuals, not just here in Korea, but globally. And our T1 predictions are across the board for good reason.
Not that I disagree for the most part with Stacks, but after an All-Pacific Grand Finals, it was a little bit of a snooze fest. It is a little bit harder to back that up, but T1 backing up their performances from kickoff is exactly what they're looking to do here today. To go from a performance like they had in Master Santiago, only be able to best EDG, and then lose to Team Liquid as well as G2 and make an early exit from the tournament, to lose to Varel on top of that would be a damning sign for this squad.
Absolutely. That's because VALORANT is the youngest team besides Nongshim here in Pacific. They're the newest team. A lot of the players are also brand new to the stage, brand new to VALORANT and VCT.
It's a young squad. They're hungry. I think half of them are younger than the Nintendo Wii, for God's sake. I mean, I think there's so much potential in this roster. There's so much. I saw it in first person, and it was amazing to see, but they've not hit that height. They haven't captured that magic here on the Pacific stage. Now is the time for them to step up. It's a tough opponent in front of them, but they have to forget the names, forget that you've looked up to these players. And, wow!
They are, if nothing else, jazzed the hell up today. Starting things off with a little dance into the walkout, now just manically shaking on stage. So, if nothing else, they're bringing the energy.
I think that's a good sign. You know what? I mean, LB said the pressure got the best of them.
Sure.
And, you know, they're literally shaking it off right now.
And then that was a thing that I had concerns about when they did Ascent, was that they're going to come into here, they're going to get themselves into Tier 1, and then they might just get checked at the door.
Yes.
You know, you're going to go up against these squads that have so much more experience, and that proved to be the case for VALORANT, but now it's that growth point. It's time to break past this. It's time to start trending upwards. So while I do think that T1, again, this is a big must-win game for them to save face after Masters Santiago, I would still love to see this go the distance, go to Lotus, and potentially even to see VALORANT win, because I want to see the team that was promised.
Yeah, I mean, for VALORANT, I can let them off for kickoff. You can sort of give them a mulligan. It was their first chance here at Tier 1.
An inverse boom.
Yeah. But if you look like that in Stage 1 as well, then we start to really have to ask some tough questions of this young squad. So I know that they can put a stronger foot forward. It's just about delivering on the day for this team.
Now, there were two teams from Ascension that have compared themselves to Paper X as they entered and ascended into Pacific, and one was Nongshim, the winning team of Masters just a month ago. Can VALORANT be that other team? And I'm really happy to see Zexy back on that jet.
Yeah, he's on the jet, which, I mean, here on Haven, it's been few and further in between, but Zexy's one of those players where maybe he can make it work. So, Jet Neon, a very bizarre double duelist comp, not something that we're used to seeing at all, but T1 are actually the team that's leaning in towards that Phoenix, and it's going to be in the hands of Meteor.
Yeah, I mean, I like this T1 comp a lot. We saw Phoenix over in EMEA playing very similar comps, but we are seeing them run that Sky. Now it's buffed back in Pacific, and Izu on the Chamber. I think he could go electric in this position.
Well, we have seen Ascension teams do the unthinkable. Can VALORANT do that today, especially starting here on Haven against a T1? That did show a lot of cracks over in Santiago.
Yeah.
I just want to see a bloodbath. I want to see these teams run at each other. I want to see a bloody mess left on the stage.
I like it. I like violence. I choose violence today, too, as we send it over to our casters, Pilsky and Quack.
Okay, with that image in my mind, yeah, let's get this going.
I'm glad I'm on another floor, honestly. I think Big Time's in for a rough time of things, to be perfectly honest with you. I'm looking forward to this match, though. VALORANT winless in kickoff, already have been beaten up by some of the other Korean big brothers, and now it's their turn to take on T1.
I think that's the main thing. You just want to see the fact that this has to be, you know, a bit more of a performance. We want to see a bit more coming out from guys like VALORANT, not just, you know, a one-sided affair.
Yeah, totally. I mean, VALORANT, they had so much potential in Ascension. They didn't realize it on the Pacific stage last time around they got to play. They played a slower style than they did in Ascension. I am already excited seeing this comp. Klaus, first time he's ever played the Neon here to start things off. Zexy back on his signature jet. And you're going to get Meteor also playing the Phoenix for the second time ever, so I'm going to clap for that one.
Yeah, let's have some claps for it. I'm trying to do my best boom quick impression, but otherwise, yeah, you're absolutely right. I mean, you do have a lot of these different things coming out, especially for Klaus and Neon. T1, I mean, what do you really think? You got all the flashes coming into this.
Yeah, they do. I mean, it's interesting that VALORANT picks attack here because this is T1's map pick and they're being allowed to start out on defense, which you've seen. I mean, T1 on a 5-match win streak in Pacific, having taken the second spot over there into Santiago. Maybe they didn't necessarily have Santiago go the way that they would have wanted, but here in Pacific, things have been going swell. I mean, they had a shaky start. They looked like they would have lost to Gen.G, but after they made their way through that mess of a series, they went on a run, man.
This whole thing, certainly hope to see a lot more of that, especially now that we are in Stage 1. Group Omega, of course, starting things off on the attacking side. We do have VALORANT in a 4-1 lean
Yeah, Izu to take first contact here. Doesn't manage to find his target as he's pushed off the line. Minus 50 HP from him. Meteor ready to back him if the C hit does speed up.
Not to sweat. Got hot hands, got curveballs and everything to toss in as well, but just a smoke, and that's Izu getting taken down.
Very careful. I mean, he had the tracers that were being fired through that smoke on low HP. It's a risk that ends up not paying off for Izu. LP active inside a grass with the cam for a little bit of support. Stacks with a bandit in hand has got a nice off angle here, but there's no plan B for him. He has to connect his shots, and when you hit nothing but the body, the bandit is not so great.
You got to scratch plan B, plan C. It's all thrown out the window. Now it's Varel's turn as they pivot back over onto C thanks to the space that LP has gained.
I mean, this is the beauty of having your mid-rounder and your IGL as the lurker, because when he just walks through the middle of the map, it's pretty easy for him to make the call. Hey guys, let's pivot back to C. Varel are running T1 around the map, and if I'm honest, making them look a little bit silly in this pistol.
Those shots through the smoke. Now off to the end of it with Suna on Sheriffs. Is definitely not the situation we want to be in for.
I mean, Zuna was one of the standouts in Ascension, right on there with Zexy. Munchkin looking for any damage he can possibly find, and LP caught in the side, but cleaned up by Zexy. That's exactly how you would have wanted that to go for Varel, to be honest. Multi-frag from Zuna on the Sova, gets himself very close to a Hunter's Fury, and Zexy already closer to his Bladestorm, picks up the Marshal for the anti-eco here.
Yeah, of course, though, this is just the pistol round, so we'll kind of keep things in check, but at the same time, I mean, just it keeps you inspired for how things could go. In a little jump check, cross over onto Stacks.
I mean, in this group for Varel, they have Zeta, who I think they could be pretty confident they could get a win over, although Zeta did show some improvements last season as well. Varel and Zeta were two of the lower performing teams in Pacific. So I think if they could get a win over any of these teams, T1 included, it would be huge for them.
Just needing to put your best foot forward as always, of course, but when it's soon onto this Guardian, hello!
This is the confidence that Varel need early on in the game. Anti-eco has gone great. Pistol, they really haven't missed a beat. Izu, very cute inside of the smoke, but there wasn't much for him to do. A flawless anti-eco for Varel to start off this game of Haven.
Just write that off. Just write that off. You go into the next one, shake everything off. You actually, no, we were talking about Varel needing to shake things off. They have.
Yeah, I mean, it's a good start from them. Already you have the Hunter's Fury here on Zuna. He had a multi-frag on the Sheriff on the pistol. Continues to go strength to strength. That was 4 players stacked up on A-Long there, and he just starts shooting away on the Guardian. Wallbangs to boot. Last kill gets him the Hunter's Fury. They are feeling very pumped up.
Just exactly what you need. T1, though, off the back foot, now trying to gain some control back in. A little check with Flash, but Meteor now taking a lot of heat.
Yeah, pushing into the back of the site, though. Zexy already up inside of A-Link. T1 need to be careful about how they approach this.
Yeah, especially around the Link corners. Zexy still a threat, getting taken out, but either way, now it's a spike planted.
We've got a Bucky in both of the Links, man. No matter where you go, you're running into a shotgun, but now you're seeing Varel forfeit control of the site and play for the afterplant with the Hunter's Fury.
Suna, all the way out from window. He's got the Guardian, of course, as well, which will just allow him to puncture through walls even. T1 need to fight for this space, not just hop into the spike. They're going to try to bait out the utility first and foremost. Also noting the positions now as the Bucky continues to fire through. Spams awarded. And now it's all the following utility dumped in. As they push on out alongside a fast lane, though, it's Varel out in corners! The bonus to succession, 3-0. What a start for this team.
Munchkin was so close to getting that defuse off, but not quite able to get it done. And that is a huge bonus win for Varel. 7-0 start for Zuna. One of the standouts of Ascension Bangkok. And T1, little bit slow to start. I don't know if some of the Santiago form is starting to bite them a little bit. They had their big highs in that tournament. Some close OTs against G2. A stomp against EDG, but they still weren't able to make it out of the group. So, unfortunately, the first Masters of the year not going as smoothly as last year for T1.
This one not going their way either. Varel feeling pulled by all of these now.
I'm literally, like, feeling the facepalm right now because I was so close to sending the Varel prediction before this series, but I had no facts or logic behind it. It was just all a vibe-based prediction, but I'm feeling the vibes here of the VALORANT upset early on in Haven. Let's reiterate that this is T1's map pick, and they've been allowed to start on the defensive side with an Astra Chamber Phoenix comp.
I think that's all fair. We don't have that much data off of VALORANT, especially from their kickoff performance. But
I mean, the data is they're not good. That's the data, especially against Korean teams. They're having a tough time.
Still, though, I mean, you expect a lot more from a squad like T1.
Having a slow start. They had a slow start to kick off, let's not forget. Before they went on that 5-match streak, they weren't necessarily looking great. And even at the start of that 5-match streak, they beat a Gen.G with 2 players sub 100 ACS to win that series.
30 seconds left.
Okay. Otherwise, still kind of in control of things. Getting a good read, just trying to sneak off some kills here and there, play around the timer. But as Munchkin goes down into the ground, you kind of think this round is done.
I mean, that was so close to going very wrong for VALORANT. But they've avoided a pretty serious snag on their run through this trail. Plant from LP, Stacks last man alive.
At what point do we kind of consider, like, T1 are done kind of testing this? Like, this is truly the epitome of veteran versus rookie. And you can kind of run off the first few rounds, but at what point does it become like, okay, VALORANT are actually surpassing this test? They're doing so much more than just, checking corners,
as far as
being aware
I'm
of
concerned,
things.
we're kind of already getting there. Like, this is an insane economy on the attacking side. None of these rounds have been particularly competitive. Even if T1, let's say T1 did pull off that defuse from Munchkin, he probably would have died anyway. They would have come out of the first gun round with no guns. So this has not been a particularly close game, and LP, that's a freebie onto Stacks. It just feels like VALORANT is blessed right now.
Everything lining up. Of course, we'll keep an eye on things up for the next round. T1 will be able to buy back up.
Yeah, they do have the run it back. That's a very nice tool. You want to try to string as many of those together as you can. I mean, looking at the comp that T1 is running with, they have a lot of these agents that can snowball pretty hard. If your Chamber or your Phoenix gets going, you start getting 2 of the forces, run it backs. That's where the rounds can get a lot more tricky as VALORANT. But this opening half for T1 has been a non-starter, so they're really going to have to go back to the drawing board here and try to figure things out on the fly.
Okay, we do see an op being brought out. If Izu does punch one through, it would be huge. Has a lot of good vision, and there he goes.
Yeah, Klaus down early. Off angle from Izu is going to be tested by Zexy, and the re-peek as well.
Damn.
Feeling very bold today is Zexy. I'm surprised he's gotten away with that.
Still in with Phantom spams as well. Izu almost getting caught down, but thanks to Sky being in the game now, he's going to get topped off.
Yeah.
VALORANT need to hang back, reset.
LP's made it into sewers, but he's very low. In fact, if the Skydog headed in his direction, that might have been the end of him. Pivoting back to spawn now for VALORANT. LP still on that active lurk inside of sewers, going to join up with the rest of the team. Buzz on an off angle inside of Garage here. Judge in hand could be problematic if VALORANT heads in that direction, but they're just going to re-hit A and leave LP on the lurk.
Yeah, why not? Might as well dump in with flashes. Zexy's still able to dive through, but you don't want that happening. Out towards B. Izu now locks down the front. Just hoping for the best as VALORANT pushes through. Cinder able to walk away one, TP's on towards the top of heaven, but abandoned Suna completely. The guy has the spike, and he cannot make it out of the choke point.
He's getting fluxed.
He's sandwiched. Okay, we're just trying to do what we can, but still Buzz out from behind pretty much seals the deal.
I mean, it wasn't much for him to do there. That's a very clean round from T1, though. As soon as the operator comes out from Izu, it gets immediate impact. The run it back is securing the round there for T1. That is how the comp is intended to function. Took a while for them to get going, but once the big ults and the operator are in play, things get a little bit easier for them.
You just needed to go max your way. Lose 4 rounds just to get the investment in for the operator.
Oh, right, yeah. We were talking about looks maxing, now we're eco maxing. We're lost bonus maxing as T1.
All right, done with that though now.
Off angle from Meteor inside a garage on the other side of the map. Izu once again set up by a teammate, this time Buzz on the rotation over. In the meantime, you had the drone up C long from VALORANT just to be able to put LP on the line. He's got an attacking side operator on the Cypher. Cage goes up. He's looking to maybe try to get his neural theft here from the orb, but how do they re-clear Izu when the drone's already been used?
That's the thing. I mean, perhaps you look towards someone like Klaus, but it's Izu, of course. You just kind of push him back for now.
Yeah, nice little circle jump to be able to push him off of the line. Just good movement being showcased by Varel, who still has this C-long info line, courtesy of the op on LP. Now they're starting to clear grass, but you're getting a bit of a mobilization in the middle of the map from T1. Meteor under pressure, able to walk away scot-free.
Continuing clear out the back of B as well. Now you just kind of cement where the hits are coming across, and Meteor is pretty much prepared. Sends out more flashes. It's a full blender as Vera unfortunately walks towards their doom. Just Cinder. He does survive for the time being, but goes down either way at the end.
Yeah, nicely done. T1 starting to pick up more and more momentum as we head deeper into this attacking side. It felt like Varel was reading them very well, running them around the map, never really had bad rotations, but now the operator is starting to give them some more problems, and it's a little bit harder to get into these sites.
Lack of some flash utility. I mean, the only way is if you somehow are able to clear out Izu, but that's not simple.
I mean, just look at the rotations, though. There's 4 on that site for T1 before they even really try to get that site hit kicked off. So feels like if Varel don't get the right reads, the right rotations, pulled from the other side, things can be very difficult. Tack up over onto Long there. The Phoenix spotted out on the A site is a change in setup from T1.
You don't see Izu anywhere nearby, so you kind of think that you still might be able to get your way into sight, but it's a full retake setup from T1.
Yeah, given the site for free here is Varel. Lots of flashes to get back on in, and a Cosmic Divide from T1. Zuna getting the plant down here.
Spike planted.
It's all going to come down to the choke points, though, and with everything smoked off, it's not that simple for T1 to break through. Just a little Sky Flash tossed out for the time being. And with a trip not being broken towards the back, Varel just needs to focus towards the front. But still, T1, water falling out from the top of heaven. They find 4, 5, all down at the hands of Meteor and Gang.
He didn't even throw a single curveball, by the way. That was Stacks doing a superhero maneuver. He guiding lights into hell and jumps out by himself, and nobody kills him. And from there, the rest of T1 just flood out easily. Like, that retake was way too easy. Look at this.
Shot.
This guy's Superman.
Oh no, a singular flash and everyone from Varel starts to...
Dude, Meteor didn't even use his
around.
wall or his flashes to get back in there. That was so easy for T1. I think Meteor expected there to be a little bit more pushback. He's like, okay, they're going to go out heaven. There's going to be a couple of trades, and then I'm going to have to start throwing some curveballs. He's like, oh, there's no one alive. Izu's just hit 2 blinders there. Back on into the site, and that's 3 in a row for T1. And I'm feeling much less worried for them now. It was a very poor start. But indeed, you were correct, Quack. They have loss bonus maxed their way into 3 rounds on defense.
I can't believe that's actually true. But this timeout, of course, does make sense for Varel. You definitely need some more post-plant protocols because this currently isn't working out.
Well, the problem is their comp. If you don't get into a fully retaken site without saving your relay bolt or the paranoia, you burn that on the execute, you actually don't have any utility to be able to hold the site. Maybe a trip or something like that, but that's where you need to play on the front foot, actually up in the face of T1. The problem is that's quite difficult against a comp with this many flashes. You've got both the Sky and the curveballs coming at you with potentially a Neon fast lane to cut up the site. It's actually a pretty annoying retake to play aggressively against.
Just all that conditioned into the rounds, and Varel need to find a way forward either way. Out for this one, just the pistols upgraded.
Yeah. I mean, this is dangerous if Varel is feeling like they're in their ascension form. They were a great team with the pistols. Zexy is feeling very bold. Man has walked straight through the middle of the map. Klaus outside garage. Cinder applying a little bit of pressure.
It doesn't feel like T1 are shaken by it whatsoever. Everyone's still holding down to the same position. Just a little check here and there. Stacks. Doesn't see too much. Buzz. Okay, still able to walk away with a dink. But suddenly it's Klaus into garage.
He has the hero rifle and he's feeling quite heroic at this point. Overdrive is online. He can potentially juggle that rifle to a teammate if he wants to continue up the pace with the ultimate. Out comes the neural theft. Zexy's got a timing, but he's made a meal of that Sheriff.
Oh, and now it's out for T1 to try to pick things up. Slight fumble. And instantly, still pushing forward. Cinder finding a frag, but now ultimately it's the spike that's irretrievable.
It's still winnable here.
What?
For Cinder, especially if he's starting to pick up the pace. Very low on HP, should be cleaned up by Stacks, but where's the trade? Easy enough for LP to pick up the spikes. Trip goes down inside a garage, going to simplify the post plant. In fact, he's got 2 trips, one on spawn side as well. Izu just got to complete this retake with an operator.
Spike planted.
Not going to be a An easy task. Hops across. Still has the op trained into a singular spot, but a little bit too wide. LP completes the thrifty for VALORANT.
I mean, that is very confident from LP, given that his teammate is in another postcode.
And low HP.
Just opts to swing out and simplify that round. Great opener from Klaus there. And look, that's what I was saying. VALORANT quite dangerous with these Sheriffs. That's a good round from Cinder. Look, make no mistake about it, Cinder had probably one of the worst Tier 1 debuts in kickoff. So, given the fact that they've kept him on the roster, you're going to have to see a pretty big step up from this man in Stage 1.
Pretty good so far. Now a quicker paced round, straight on execute into the seaside. Munchkin drags the crosshair across, and it's just not enough. Buzz will be able to find one back into it, but still, all the post-plant utility is online.
Yeah, you do have to run it back as well. And Meteor's going to send it straight out of Garage. You get the Paranoia in response, and Zexi's going to deal with the ultimate at least.
So far, so good. Still have Hunter's Fury and everything now tossed into it. T1 start to scramble, but they still want to push through. Klaus locks it down towards the back of Link, and then it's just Meteor. Will be able to heal up for the time being, but that's all you can really bet on. Just the shots outside of Garage. It's too tough of a choke point. No angles, no vision.
Pushed away, and run it back doesn't have as much impact as it had in the previous round. As I said, holding the Paranoia and Relay Bolt, some of the reactive utility makes such a big difference in the post plant. That Paranoia straight through Garage to be able to deal with the run it back really helps VALORANT to be able to secure that round on the C site. And after a bit of a dry spell, VALORANT with a half buy and a very nice follow-up gun round have once again put T1 under pressure.
Just the recovery. We do have Izu back on the op though, but you can clearly see, even though in theory this comp does work out well for retakes, T1 of course, if VALORANT pick up the pace, it makes things that much more difficult.
I mean, Munchkin is probably spewing that he's not on the Viper right now. I'm not going to lie. He's been put on Astra on his signature map. That is, yeah, that is not probably where he wanted to be. Just quietly, by the way, Cinder is 10-4. This is maybe his best game in Pacific thus far.
Okay, calm down.
I'm being serious. He's pushed away under a lot of pressure and picked off after a cheeky TP up onto the top box there.
Damn.
Zexy inside of the smoke could be a big problem here.
Just continuing to play around these chokes. Don't allow for T1 to set up. Don't let them go through with their flashes. He walks up behind them, and there they go. T1, even though they've made it kind of past choke point, it's still not going to be enough, but Zexy unfortunately will get caught. Buzz trying to gain some footing for T1 now in the retake.
Yeah, Munchkin throwing down a star onto the site. It's a nice open plant, and he's got an Odin LP. That is brutal on the spam. You are not defusing the spike. Half doesn't even come through, and Munchkin cleaned up as well. That's 3 in a row for VALORANT.
Done and dusted. As far as we're concerned, VALORANT secured a lead in this first half. You got 2 more rounds to go.
They brought an Odin and a shotgun into a buy round there. Zexy with the Blade Storm active. I think, like, honestly, T1 did very well to clear that smoke out. I like their approach to the execute, well aware that there might be a disruptive kind of post plant on offer from VALORANT, who have already kind of not been able to deal with the flashes. You see Zexy dive up inside of the spawn smoke. Meteor throws down the hot hands and then tries to create an opening for them to come out spawn side. But just beautiful timing there from Zexy. Undoes all of that hard work.
Just not enough delay. It's all down to the retakes, and if retakes go south, then that's pretty much that.
I mean, the flash on front B hasn't worked once for Meteor. They've played around it very nicely. In fact, he's popped another shock dart there. LP's been watching the Brock VODs, I think. Just wants to be a menace on the Odin here. Spamming away through Garage, breaking the doors.
If you're a T1, you're going to be a little bit more worried about pushing out.
I mean, they have to stay on the front foot here, though. They don't have a hard sentinel on this map. It is just the chamber. Once again, you do see left on his own on one side of the map, Izu. Well, Meteor has taken mid, so it's very obvious it's going to be an A finish, but can they proactively deal with the post plant when you have, once again, both the Relay Bolt and the Paranoia online for VALORANT?
Doesn't feel like it's going to happen. It's all down to this choke again, and I don't think they're going to be able to waterfall the same exact way. VALORANT wise to it this time. All the crossfire set up towards the front. You got Zexy with a shorty out in hand. Flashes all tossed out towards T1. Does buy some time off the clock, but now it's the Outlaw. Zuna up to the top of heaven, and as T1 tries to step through, Buzz falls to his doom! boom! Munchkin, Izu still trying to fire through, but all of this as the timer ticks and ticks. It's Cinder off to the classic, left clicks away, Farrell up to 8!
Just great adaptations from VALORANT. You see them holding the paranoia, holding the relay bolt, and playing so aggressively in the post plant. They are not letting T1 out of the choke points. You saw how easy it was when Stax is able to get out of heaven for free, but when you see, look at these positions for VALORANT. Zexy's in their spawn. You have a player Graffiti, a player in Hell. They are just playing up on the front foot and never giving T1 any breathing room at all.
Got the read. The download is complete. All that's left is this first half. So just sliding across for now. T1 trying to hold true to their positions.
Spam is quite connect on Buzz. Stax looking for information there. Guiding Light will confirm there's somebody outside of A, so he's not going to feel bold enough to go for the push, and LP will do, though.
Yeah. This is where things might start to unravel. LP, Lone Lurk, finds the kill and Neural Theft. He still survives almost by a hair. Meteor will take him out, but unfortunately, this is where everything goes wrong. The rotations a little bit too early. They've abandoned their positions. Allows for VALORANT to push up front, but still good recovery as Izu snaps their top buzz onto the judge. More kills, more rounds, and T1 still might have a say on this map.
Lovely recovery there after getting bit by the A-Lurk from LP. T1 not quite getting run around the map as heavily as VALORANT was doing earlier on in that half. Able to hold down on C. When they had the rotations in the right position, they were doing very, very well, but VALORANT did a really, really good job of being quite tricky with the active lurks. Izu gets a lot of space out backside there, never even has to TP, and Buzz having some good impact there on the judge. So only 4 in the opening half there, but I feel like looking at T1's comp, it's going to get much scarier on the defense, actually.
You're right. All the flashes.
Yeah, double flashes and a chamber with a neon to boot. I mean, it's not going to be particularly easy to defend against. They do have the Cypher at least, though, and I think that that's going to be pretty big for VALORANT, I have to say. No Sova on the opposing side. Nothing to really easily break the trips for T1. So I think it's going to be quite difficult. Zuna, I mean, fantastic first half from him. He gets the first half MVP, 300 ACS on the Sova. And he started beautifully, but I am by far and away much more impressed by Cinder. Like, Cinder in kickoff was just a non-factor. And this game, he is frying them.
Every single, so far. And that's why I do think, you know, even though we're talking about everything with T1 swapping over onto the attack with the composition that they have, you cannot write VALORANT out just yet. It's not just the scoreline, it's also their comp, the players coming in. They still have their options. They can still play retake just because of what they have in store. T1, on the other hand, I mean, if the flashes go south, you know, it feels like everything goes along with it.
We'll see how T1 does approach this one. Big setup on the C side of the map with only LP with a shorty in hand here on this A side. Does have a Cypher trip across B, and he's just going to opt to play in short. You didn't get any kind of action on the C side of the map, so instant rotations there for VALORANT. They've left Cinder inside a garage, but it's a very slow round here for T1. Izu just looking for information, does have the TP for safety if he needs it.
T1 quite comfortable to just kind of go poking around bit by bit. What is this, like triple high-low on the A site? Camera still checking around, but T1 are actually hovering around B.
Izu well out of the radius of his TP here, so if he gets some pressure, it's going to be pretty annoying for him. Buzz has put a lot of pressure onto front B here, really looking for some kind of a reaction out of VALORANT. He's broken the trip.
VALORANT thinking about it. Still not going to budge, though. They feel like something's right around the corners, and they are right. The Trailblazer will confirm, but LP has to hold on to his position. He unfortunately gets flushed out of the corners, and now T1 beginning to make their move. 30 seconds. Do they go to C?
Maybe. Izu forced away, and you are going to see the pivot back towards the C side of the map. Cinder still has the paranoia in hand, but he's all on his lonesome. Heals coming on as T1 do pivot their way through the map. Will VALORANT beat them to the punch? Only 20 seconds on the clock, so they're definitely going to flood here.
They actually might. And if you time this paranoia just right, it could work out even better. He's holding on to it, listening for the tap. Zexy's already in line, and he gets a shot off. Cinder up around the corner. Unfortunately, position revealed. He still managed to get the kill. You just need one more. Zuna! What is that flick? The Red Bull 9!
Spot a Sheriff in both pistols, and you can see exactly why. This man is incredibly sharp. His first bullet accuracy over in Bangkok was something to behold. And that's a multi-frag in the Sheriff, on the Sheriff rather, in both pistols for Zuna to start things off well for Varel.
All he needed was the kill under the spike planter, but he got both.
Yeah, all 3 shots connecting. It's just about how many heads he was hitting.
Hell of a game. Can't say the same for T1.
They lost both pistols. I've had a decent string of rounds in that first half to look at after the first war from Varel, but that's where the good news ends. This is one of these punchier kind of executes. You're going to see LP just playing inside of his cages. He's a little gremlin with the judge.
And Neons can't do too much against that. Klaus has brought his own judge in as well, but okay, Meteor flashes out, Bandits in.
At what point do you start to get a little bit worried? Drone goes forward for Varel. You still have the Headhunter in play for Izu. Let's not forget about that.
Yeah, this is the point. I'm worried now.
They've got 2 shotguns in spawn, Quack.
Exactly. You might be able to flash them, but you can still left click away with the shotguns. Safe to say, this round has gone horribly wrong, but still, Cinder will try. He does have the Spectre, but ultimately his HP is way too low.
Yeah, he's cooked it. Izu and Munchkin just playing the spike. You could see that start. It will be an immediately grab well onto the tap. Cinder playing outside of it. Does pick up Izu.
No shot.
Munchkin now looking for the right click to clean things up. And you can see Cinder was expecting the flank from Garage there. He didn't expect 2 towards C long. And T1 eco them right after the pistol.
And watch how it happens again. I mean, it was all around these little cages and smokes where maybe the shotguns got a little bit too overheated.
Yeah, that is a play from LP. That is a play you're allowed to make in Valorant. I don't know if it's going to pay off against T1. That's the kind of thing that I feel like in Ascension, he probably would have killed the whole team.
Fair.
Yeah, this level of play, yeah, that's not going to cut it.
Wish I knew what they said. But either way, moving forward now, it's the buys up for T1, trying to close in on this gap, all hovering across a lobby.
Buzz on the judge. Aggression front B there from Cinder, just trying to bait them into the shotgun of Zexy.
Emphasis on the word try.
I mean, Meteor is never really in a rush to go anywhere.
That's
he
the
just
thing.
likes to take his time, even on the Phoenix.
Even on the duel, yes.
And actually, he has been left on the active lurk. It's not the Astra on the lurk, it is the Phoenix. Just sitting front B. You know, you can take Meteor off of a Sentinel, but you're not going to stop him playing like one.
Should not. Meanwhile, the rest of T1 will just continue to make sure every avenue is in their control. Now Spike plant soon enough. Meteor still a pesky thorn in the side for Varel.
I mean, he's already got his runner back, so as far as he's concerned, job done. I see a 1 putt from Buzz to finish off Klaus, and it's all down to LP, who's really only looking for damage at this point. Doesn't want to really feed a Cosmic Divide over to Munchkin if he can avoid it, but money hasn't built up yet for T1, so every pick that he gets with the Sheriff, it's going to be worth it this early in the half.
That's where problems could start to arise. I mean, same could be said somewhat for Varel. I'm still waiting to see if heavy investment is going to come in one of the upcoming rounds. But for now, I mean, it's T1. If they have their way with things, they're taking things this slow, it's going to expose some gaps here and there.
It's interesting that the stars, really, of Varel haven't got rolling. It's usually Klaus and Zexy on the double duelist. You used to see them play the Waylay over in Ascension on things like Abyss. They were quite comfortable with those kind of comps. Sometimes you'd see LP on something like a Yoru, but those were usually the heavy hitters for Varel. It's interesting to see Cinder at the top of the scoreboard. Zuna's usually quite solid. I'm wondering if the duelists are going to start getting rolling on defense here, though. For Varel, T1 wrestle control of a lobby here. Have been scanned by the Sova of Zuna. Over on the other side of the map, Zexy making an info push, but LP is set up with the judge here yet again. This time on the A side of the map.
Be good for at least 1 or 2, but he's going to hang back instead. Set up for retakes?
Yeah, and it's going to be difficult to retake into this, I'll tell you what. You have the drone and the paranoia. Klaus is going to have to make some space there. You see the pivot there of the death camp on the run it back. Meteor cleans out all of Spawn, but Munchkin with that plant does get the Cosmic, and that's going to make this retake a lot harder.
Might even want to start to consider a save rather early on. You hear the judge, all the seekers all being sent out. I mean, it's a lot of heavy investment for T1 on this round.
They're not getting back in, Varel. I don't think there's any way.
Still gonna try though, but no, you're just falling to your doom.
Yeah, they literally just jumped into the blender,
But
to be
why?
honest.
Questionable decision.
At the end of the day, a lot of guns donated over there to T1. LP walks away with his life, and that's about where the good news ends. To be fair, T1 do invest a run it back and a Cosmic as well as Seekers in winning that gun round. But when you're going to bankrupt the enemy team, that's well worth it.
For sure, especially when the scoreline is like this. You bring yourself closer to a tied up number.
Yeah,
Apart from that.
I mean, T1 is well and truly in it now.
I mean, the thing that I do want to see, like you mentioned from before, get those duelists running on the side of Varel. If Zexy, Klaus start to take more proactive space, you know, like kind of what Zexy was thinking about down C, it might help.
Yeah. I mean, in that round, the C long push didn't really help them too much, because when they find themselves out of position with this comp, it's quite hard to be able to get back in. And we talked about the question of, in these comps, now that Yoru has been nerfed, where did the flashes come from? Well, I can tell you, without flashes, that A retake is very cursed.
Yeah.
You basically have to be able to fast lane your way in, find a good paranoia timing. Your Neon has to get the right entry back into the site, or it's not happening.
That's pretty much it. So, for the upcoming rounds, after Coach TK9's timeout here, I mean,
they had a nice adjustment on the attacking side, I will say. After the timeout, they saved a lot more utility in the post plants. Paranoia and relay bolt, things like that. We were talking about that in the first half. So what's the adaptation going to be on the defense? I mean, I really think they need to either get the Neon or the Jet active onto a deep info line and stack the other site. The Cypher hasn't had much impact yet. It's mostly just been LP on a shotgun, either kind of donating himself or running out of the site because there's a run it back running at him.
Yeah. Well, Zexy is saving in this round. Apart from LP on the Hero Vandal, possibly to bring out an op on the upcoming.
100% that's an op in round 18.
Just to hold those info lines maybe up around A long. But for now, T1 back into it. You've got Izu on the Outlaw as well. I mean, he's going to try to farm up close to the Tour de Force.
Yep, that's a freebie onto Cinder. No smokes on the retake now for Varel and a free C site on the cards. You can see how tentative they are. Buzz goes in first, followed up by the Trailblazer. Ooh. Very much not trying to get caught off guard by any cheeky off angles or shotguns.
Watch this from Munchkin as well.
He's not done buying guns. He's still deciding.
Shopping here and there. We're shopping for out points now as he crouches down. Unfortunately, does get taken out. Hero Vandal still in play. Back out towards C long where Izu's going to be the one eyeing this corner. Incites the rest of T1 to continue pushing up and Buzz, chill. He's a lot younger than you.
Hey, I mean, it's the big brother treatment. Get the tag out for Izu. As you said, getting closer and closer to a tour de force. And Zuna not quite stunned up there by Buzz, who was a little scared to be peeking it with aim like that. That's exactly why you won't want to be. And the last two players definitely going down to the spike one way or another. Izuna does very well on the exits there, earns himself a Hunter's Fury and takes every gun away from T1.
Oh my god. Despite the scoreline, I'm still fired up for Zuna.
I mean, Zuna's crazy. Great to see his potential fully showcased. He didn't have that many moments in kickoff. I mean, to be fair, Barrel didn't.
Yeah. He was the, I think, biggest stat performer for the team then. So still is, which is nice to see. Yeah. But upcoming round, this is what we want. Surely the op brought out. There we go.
Indeed. Op on the attacking side as well, though, and it's going to be back-to-back rounds where the op will be brought out on the attacking side because Izu's got the tour de force next round one way or another. Meteor active in the middle of the map. Nice off angle from Klaus with a trip to back him up here. It's going to be a Trailblazer into Garage.
Really breaks it. Tries to delay as much as possible, but you can't stop Buzz. Cinder will come back through, though. Just try to stop and hold. LP trying to play around the angles, but gets caught instead.
He's been trying to be so aggressive on these off angles, and time again, he's been punished by T1. Hot Hands is going to stop the scale into the smoke on spawn side here, and Meteor is up close and personal.
You can't. You got to save now.
Again, I mean, you try to retake this with an op. I just don't think it's happening. It's another round where it feels like T1 are just running a train on them.
It feels like you just got to try to read where T1 wants to end up, but they can end anywhere so fast that it makes it difficult.
Well, like, how many rounds has T1 been hitting the Cypher side of the map and had no issues? Like, that is the thing that should be the hardest thing for you to approach for T1 against this comp. You have nothing to deal with Cypher trips, really, unless you have a run it back, for example. And to be fair, one of the Cypher trips did get a kill that round in Garage. But in terms of actually holding the site, the Cypher has been terrible.
Just kill the Cypher.
Well, I feel like LP a lot of the time isn't really playing off of his setup that much. Like, traditionally, you'll have the Cypher or someone else sitting in the back of the sites. The other team attacks into you, you pop your cages, or you have a specific setup with your kill trips to play around that. Half these rounds, LP, like this round, for example, look how deep he is on an off angle. Like, he's playing in the open on the C side. That's the swing he took with the cage up on main. I don't mind that. Honestly, it's kind of Gen.G-esque. It's like what they used to do. They put the Viper orb up, and then you'd have Munchkin or like Foxy9, for example, playing on an off angle, and you swing Garage side. It can work for you. Unfortunately, he's been trying that approach by and large most of this game, and it hasn't worked.
Especially when it's, you know, full force of T1 running against you. Now we do have the double judge, though. Curious to see how that pays off.
I mean, they had 3 rifles brought in from that last round, so I don't mind the approach of mixing a couple shotguns in full stack on this A site.
Okay.
The rest of the map is being held by some string and some tape here.
String by the tripwire.
Yeah,
I see what you mean.
Of LP. Drone goes through a lobby and sees nothing. That is going to be the biggest false sense of security here for VALORANT. Do they trust their stack?
Does T1 sniff anything? I think they do.
Seems sus, that's for sure.
Hear the neon, they're like, we want none of that.
It's crazy how much VALORANT have rotated in this round based off nothing happening. Like, this is just mind games. There's the From the Shadows just looking for some information, looking for anything.
You don't see anything. Now you start to piece it together. Could they be around C long? Could they be around grass, perhaps, even?
I mean, again, this is LP by himself with nothing on the site, really.
Well, he does have a judge.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen that movie before.
He's up against Neon. He's trying to call it to the team, and he only hears one guy, so that should help out. The rest of the team still hovering around A site, and they're trying to slow it down as much as possible. Look up to the top of the screen. There's only 15 seconds left, and it just might have worked out. Meteor, though, stacks. They've managed to cross safely. The op shot's not connecting, but Zexy will dip back in. Let's go. On towards it still, though. Meteor will continue to plant his feet down, but as soon as the timer goes down, he kind of knows it's all done and dusted. Just down to it, trying to take those guns away, but Klaus manages to hop away scot-free.
I mean, VALORANT does very well to hold their nerve there. Big flake being sold. Buzz, honestly, I felt like he was an excellent salesman. I was buying into it. VALORANT was not buying, though. Still 3 players on the A site, despite the fact that Buzz is on C, making as much noise as possible. Smoke's thrown in that direction as well. LP cleans him up, and I think the Neural Theft does a very good job to confirm VALORANT's suspicions, but still, the balls to just sit 3 on A there, with all of the map pressure.
I have to imagine that's, you know, a bit of LP's work as well.
I saw a similar round to that in Challenges recently, actually.
Yeah,
it was a motive round where they worked the whole map on this map, I believe. They took like garage control, they pressured like one side of the map, and the other team just didn't rotate. And that's what that round felt like. It's like, oh, I'm coming garage. I've taken C site. Please rotate, man. And the other team's just like, huh?
Is it here? Is it there?
What?
That's the game sometimes, but either way now, with a scoreline this close, T1 smell a possibility and bringing it through and through. They're going to call in a timeout. Final one possible.
They have a run it back to work with. That definitely helps. Can simplify some of these attacking rounds and just give you a pretty straightforward approach.
Is that guy asleep?
Yeah.
Brother.
I think he fell asleep in the Gen.G game.
And nobody woke him up.
He woke up, he's like, hang on. This is a different Korean team.
Oh my god, no way.
It's like Munchkin, Meteor.
Somebody.
It's still Gen.G, right?
Somebody wake him up. And Ace is gonna happen. He's gonna explode.
Well,
beams, brings back out the tour de force, but he's completely surrounded. Quite worried about the flank. Zexy's just gonna toy with him as much as possible for LP to creep up front.
Who is this guy? Is this the same guy from Kickoff?
Nah, dude.
In the offseason, Cinder has gone into the hyperbolic time chamber The amount of aim prac that this guy has done is immense.
He's got weights on his wrist.
He's taking the gloves off this game for sure.
Yeah, and when those gloves hit the ground, it's just going to cause like a huge earthquake. That's how hard he's been training.
Well, Izu scanned up by the dart, flanked by LP. Another round for Varel, back-to-back rounds on the defense, post-timeout for T1. It felt like they read that round very well, to be honest. It was 1-for-1 early on, and to be honest, if they, in the timeout, had a game plan that revolved around the run-it-back, then I'm sure they would have had to pivot in the mid-round. But there's no way that you should be really having this much problem trading out an Omen in that position.
He's shocked. He's stunned.
Yeah.
Legit. If Cinder got taken out, this round would not have gone this way.
Yeah. I mean, to be fair, like, the spacing looks horrible there for T1, but that's kind of just a side effect of what they're playing. The Neon is 4 steps in front of the Sky, who is setting him up with the utility, and then the Astra is holding short. They're kind of in all the positions that you would expect them to be, and they're running at an Omen who's been stunned, and he's late to TP. I mean, I think 9 times out of 10, you're probably thinking, well, T1's just rolled him and won the round. But that is just some individual brilliance from Cinder.
Not much you can do about that. Cracked Koreans. Either way, though, it's going to be back-to-back timeouts. Pilski feels as though the situation's getting more dire by the second. Izu back in with an op.
This is T1's map pick, and Varel are looking to pinch it here in a moment. Starting to run out of money on this attacking side. Still do have the run it back, so if they had some kind of plan to utilize that ultimate in a round previous, I dare say they want to get it used. It's very frustrating to be in the coaching booth and not watch your players use ultimates. That's something that T1 would never do, right?
Or
they've never done that before.
Parties. Yeah.
I've never seen T1 not use their ultimates.
Right here.
Well,
Standing ahead.
Either way, you lose this, it's up to map point for Varel. T1 need to pull something out. And there they go!
I mean, bold from Klaus. I respect it. He's done that exact same wide peak in the last round. This time, not so good. Here's the run it back straight through the middle of the map though. LP gives it a little bit of a jiggle. He's not interested. Stax is getting the plant down in the meanwhile, and T1 are digging their heels in. Buzz has been left on the back of the site.
Theoretically the correct play, but we go back into it. What's the retake gonna look like? You can't take out Buzz. Buzz actually slides up front. You make it a trade. Suddenly, Meteor comes back in to take the place of Buzz, and then we have a huge problem as he spins around, swiveled onto a tap headshot. Just Cinder outside of garage, and he's been pinned down. That's gonna be T1 up to 10 and 11.
Yeah, I think the coach of T1 has just called that timeout and said, guys, remember that play we didn't do in the round previous? Let's do that one, and let's not get caught by the Neon sliding out garage this time.
Well done.
Good stuff from Meteor. Punishes that aggression and then just goes crazy in the middle of the map. Optimistic swing from Buzz. It's the kind of swing that you take when the round is probably already won.
Also preventing Varel from trying to set up again as well. And that has always been kind of the issue for Varel on this half, the retakes.
Guarding light up over the top, you have the Blade Storm in play here for Zexy. T1 pushed out of lobby early on. It's a big stack over A here. Paranoia was prepped in from Suicide. T1 not making any inroads on that part of the map. Lucky not to, because if they got caught by that trap play, it could have been bloody.
But we've seen this setup from Varel again before. You mentioned, you know, sticks and tape and... Okay, at least we're moving parts around now.
Yeah, playing off the trips a little bit more. There isn't a trip on front B. Once again, Trailblazer goes forward, confirms that there is a trip inside a garage. Needs to be broken by Buzz. Klaus trying with the counter spam, but not connecting, and he's stunned himself. So, that's not ideal.
It's just LP around C. Suna's not going to move. T1 still trying to bait more out towards the C site.
Yeah, they creep back into C here. LP on his lonesome with the judge on the backside of the C site. See how proactive he's going to be. I mean, it's going to be a suicide mission from him one way or another. The only question is how successful it will be.
Feels as though T1 should be able to anticipate it. They've seen him play this position again and again. So up around the cages, they suspect something around the corner. They still hop into it though. Suicide mission complete. You walk away with one. At the same time, T1 managed to gain control over the site. Klaus trying to toy around it. Will be able to slide forward, but no one is here to follow up. Cinder actually arrives. The spike is down on the ground, and you've got 10 seconds left to try to get it planted. Meanwhile, Suna out from the back of Garage. Cinder just to toy around with it from the shadows onto site itself. Buzz not cracking under the pressure just yet. He will hop back in across. He completes the spray transfer! Just as easy as ever, Buzz! Still ever the veteran!
I thought I only saw that in my ranked games. Zexy whiffs every single knife on the Blade Storm and is left jumping around like a goose with the classic.
Not from Zexy, no!
Anybody but him. Usually incredibly sharp on one of his signature agents of the Jet. I mean, to be fair, he did use 2 knives to the body there, so he only had so many. There it is. That's the last knife. And then he pulls out the shorty, which doesn't do much of that range.
That's a bit of panic for sure.
And I think the second player to trade him there was LP with the judge. So that's 2 players trying to run at him with shotguns.
That's why you got the transfer. Well, it's 11-11 now. Winner might take all.
Overdrive is there from Klaus. I'm surprised he hasn't given someone else the Hero Vandal because the overdrive on the Neon is a rifle in its own right. T1, how many times have they crept into a site for free here? There's a trip in play. LP playing inside of his cage once again, does deal with the Trailblazer, but caught there by the span, by the relay bolt. It's again another unsuccessful suicide mission from the Cypher with a shotgun, and the rest of Barrel aren't doing much on the Flood either.
Yeah, this is not how you kind of want to have this round go.
Yeah, maybe not. Yeah, yeah, not really. Credit to T1 though. They're just simplifying really, you know. They're taking their time, working together as a unit, sending in the Trailblazer to see what's going on. Buzz dives in on the entry and they have Meteor to follow up if needed.
Unfortunately, sometimes that's the case, you know. Rookies, they brought this game up this far, but up to this point, that's where you start to really feel the shakiness in the defense. They start to peak a little bit early.
Yeah.
How's the money look?
I mean,
triple judge?
Triple judge? If there was going to be any team to do it, it'd be Varel. They love their shotguns, these guys. Klaus, once again, does have the overdrive to follow up, so he's not completely bound by the judge this round. They are backing the judges, though. Run it back is in play for Meteor. You once again have the Cosmic. If T1 walk into a site for free and put the Cosmic down against a triple judge, that's going to be it. That's going to be it.
I can see they're definitely considering that fact. And then we'll start things up. You do have a deep trip, though. And it's quickly dealt with. Oh, no, LP.
He's just getting manhandled this game.
Come on, Klaus. Surely you've got something. He pops the overdrive, and he just goes in Hail Mary fully on towards Meteor's run it back. Cinder comes in with a follow-up, and that's good enough of a stop for now.
Yes, he could definitely be on for OT here. The Cosmic has kind of just turned C-Log into a bit of a shooting gallery. Drone goes forward, confirms that T1 is still hanging around here.
Are we playing a TDM on Drift?
Yeah. 1v1 in mid. It's literally every TDM map.
Well, not for long. Back into Garage. Varel starting to consider the fact that T1 might have rotated off elsewhere. Zexy's on an exploration mission.
He's walked down the middle of the map. Cinder once again has to stand and deliver. Klaus very close by, has the fast lane to break up the push. Whiff shot. Cinder has got to multi-frag here and he can't.
Unfortunate. It's Izu with just the Headhunter, and that's possibly all it took. Now you got the trademark towards the back. Zexy's efforts have completely been thrown aside. It's just Suna, and he has to deliver. Otherwise, this is done.
Cloudburst starts getting past the trademark, though. RT1 going to be ready for the flank.
I think they're quite aware. Izu is even on the cards for an ace. Op shots, Headhunter, and that's all he needed. Despite Sparrow's best efforts, it's now on to Zexy, the young duelist. Heavy responsibility, and it's a huge choke point as well. Izu trains it down, swaps to the Headhunter. Zexy still trying. He's running out of time, though, and that's where it ends. Munchkin up 13-11. T1 complete the entire map.
I mean, that is a sloppy game from T1. Where they lost both pistols, they still won. That is the class of this team. Even if they're slow starters into some of these Pacific tournaments, they are still able to come away with wins. And if they warm up, they start to hit their stride, that's where VALORANT is really in trouble.
That's pretty much the whole game. It really feels as though you want to see a lot more, but credit where it's due. You know, you do see some of these players start to stand up. Cinder having a hell of a game, but for now, let's toss it to the stage with the coach interview on Gen.
Haven is in the bag for T1. I've got Coach KDG with me to talk about what happened on that map. KDG, super close game, but you guys completed the comeback, and we got to see the individual brilliance from all of the players on T1, especially towards the end. So what was the difference between the first half and the second half? What made it difficult for you, especially on your defense? 일단은 감독님, 조합의 변화를 줬고, 그리고 이제 후반전 가서 선수들 모두 살아나는 모습을 보여줬는데요. 전반전이 좀 아쉬우신 부분도 있었을 것 같고, 좀 T1에게는 큰 고비지 않았나 싶습니다. 어떤 점이 달랐고, 또 전반전 어떤 점이 힘들었던 걸까요?
일단은 전반전 특히 수비에서는 저희가 조금 난이도가 있는 조합을 선택하기도 했지만 그럼에도 불구하고 저희가 한 명씩 약간 잘라먹으면서 리테이크하는 구도가 좀 나왔어야 되는데 사실 저희가 잘라먹으면서 리테이크가 아니라 저희가 한 명씩 죽으면서 리테이크 되는 상황이 많았어서 조금 더 힘들었던 것 같습니다.
Well, yeah, on defense with this comp, it is a bit tricky, but what made it trickier for us was our initial plan was to go one by one, gain map control bit by bit, but we ended up dying and we had one man going down from our side, so that kind of made it tricky for us to perform well on defense, but we pushed it through. Thank you very much, KDG, and good luck.
네, 감사합니다.
What a map one. Varel had a very strong start on Haven, but it must be so heartbreaking the way this script has completely flipped.
Yeah, I mean, I'm upset for the guys because they came out and they looked so good in this first half. I thought it was over and done with. The way they were playing looked great. They managed to capture that aggression. They had those moments of individual brilliance. And then the side swaps. You see T1 start to build that momentum, and it all falls apart for Varel.
This felt eerily similar to me to when they squared off against each other at the SVL during the offseason, where it was a really strong early start for then SLT, now Varel, and T1 just kind of started figuring them out, started assessing like, okay, this is how you're trying to play the game right. Okay, we can make these adjustments, we can figure it out, we can solve this puzzle, and then they did. This one considerably closer, but this is going to be a heartbreaker for Varel after taking both of those pistols, after being so far ahead, to then have this map not even go to that overtime, to have that denied away from you. Even though this is your opponent's map pick, you would really like to come away with the win here.
I mean, for me, I think their inexperience showed, you know, look at that, the anti-eco after that second half round switch, they win the pistol and then they buy 2 judges. This isn't something that you see a lot for a reason, because the site gets overrun. If the judges don't go crazy and multi-kill, all of a sudden you're in a horrible retake against the judges. They lose all that momentum that they just got from the pistol, and the half runs away from them. This is where I want to see them have that bit more discipline, a little bit more structure, but it didn't come out today. T1 managed to steal a map win essentially here.
I think that's a really good point, and I'm pretty sure that exact those moments are going to be something they'll be reviewing after this match today, win or lose. But, you know, to that point about experience, this is something that Munchkin is especially a specialist in, is sort of reading the patterns of the opponents, and the more rounds you give them, the more time you give Munchkin to figure them out, especially on a map like Haven. But what I really like to see from T1 is that it's not just the Izu show, they've all done their part.
Yeah, I mean, they come out with this this double duelist, this Phoenix composition here, putting Meteor on Phoenix for the second time ever in his career.
Yeah.
Which I was kind of surprised by. I thought that given how long he's been competing back in the day when Phoenix was a lot more prevalent, I thought maybe we'd be seeing him